it's always I like to be the flea under your collar. It's always the small piece that makes the big noise. But if you don't have the small piece, you don't see it. The other point about student activism, we also have to remember that the function of higher education is a conservative force. So that we mentioned USAID, we also should recognize that controlling students is a means of the United States putting forward its policy position. I'm reminded of a story once a friend of mine told me about, that Fidel Castro was being groomed by the United States as a student to play a role in controlling Cuba. But he was so clever and sophisticated that the person who said that don't have to worry about him, he's on our side, lost his job.
I want also to be more concrete. If you do know, in Haiti, Haiti has an illiteracy rate of 80%, which means if there is any kind of progress, we need, the country has to go to that process of literacy program. And I think in that sense, you as students can be very helpful in collecting materials. Those are things that you, even if they are minimum, they are very important. And I'm sure that you can get information from the Haitian Embassy, from the Haitian Consulate. The Haitian Student Club should be able to bring that type of information and when that campaign of literacy began. And I think it will be crucial to collect material, like pencil. Those are things that make a difference.
I'm just going to say, add just my own 2 words on this, is historically, in the past 20 years, not just in South Africa, Nicaragua, and other countries, that students have found ways to go to other countries to try to help, but also what's very important is to try to learn from the struggles and how to take the struggles of the people of Nicaragua, the struggles of people of South Africa, and how we can learn also in terms of the meaning of democracy and the meaning of justice and the meaning of equality. And I think that it would be a wonderful task for us at Medgar Evers to try to find very concrete ways to show our solidarity in terms of the courses we take, the clubs that we're involved in, and trying to find ongoing ways to have programs to discuss these issues. And also to hook up with other CUNY students across the CUNY campuses to learn from what the other students are doing. Other questions? Yes. We have time for one more question, and then we're going to close up. So.
We learned that the Haitian military was trained by the U.S., and that Cedras, of course, is one of those who were trained. And he and his colleagues were against any kind of change in Haiti. And now there will be, I heard, of course, a new force of police who will be replacing some of those military, corrupted ones, that is, of course. I'm asking now, who will be training them? And if we're not setting ourselves for another kind of coup in the next 5 years?
Part of the agreement of the Accords of Governors Island was that, in fact, the Constitution, that's where it came from. The Constitution of 1987 clearly states that the army should be separate from the police force. Now, the Accords of 1993 at Governors Island between the Haitian government and the United Nations set the agenda for the training of that police force, which is supposed to be under the supervision of the United Nations. Now, we do also know that the responsible of that United Nations force is Kelly, who was the deputy, the police commissioner of Dinky. He's the one in charge now. in Haiti. So you see, when you don't participate, other people are participating. And so he's the one in charge. And the question that you raise is a real one. Part of the plan is to reduce the army. The army will be reduced to 1,500 persons, but the police will have 6,000 people. I don't know. I mean, I cannot tell. I cannot predict what will happen. I mean, coercive forces are always coercive forces. Army are army, and police are police. So what they can do depend also on the strength of civil society, on the strength of popular organization, on the strength of democratic organization within the society.
One of the things that we do know about the process that is now being undertaken is that they are basically taking those that are in the present military and reconstituting them. And the primary emphasis is to take them and retrain the ones that are already in the military. That already speaks to, I think, a very negative sign about where this is being directed. Supposedly, the people that were involved with human rights abuses, or at least gross human rights abuses, are being weeded out. But the latest information about it is that a lot of the military has decided to just drop out of sight. And the serious thing about that is that they're very likely to join the paramilitary forces. And that's what's really scary about it. And leaving very few people, very few candidates for Raymond Kelly to work with initially. Finding recruits outside of the military has also been problematic. And as we know from the recent developments that I mentioned on Sunday, 100 of the police force that have been involved with human rights abuses escaped from the prison. I mean, it's very suspicious that such a large number can just very easily escape Haiti's main prison without the collusion of those people that are supposed to be guarding the prison. So we see a police force that is extremely weak and out of control. I think, in my estimation, Raymond Kelly's biting off more than he can chew. And the strategy, I think, is one that has been used in the past in other places. And my experience in Panama, for example, is that the same military that was under Noriega, General Noriega, was deputized at the point of the invasion and reconstituted as the new military force, new police force. Basically, the same military that was involved in drug dealing and all sorts of corruption was deputized and reconstituted as the new police force. If you look at Panama today, there's more drug dealing in Panama post-invasion than there was prior to the invasion. And one of the key sectors playing a role in that, the upsurge in drug dealing in Panama, is the military. And so I think if that experience is any example, I think we could be repeating mistakes here in Haiti. We need to be conscious of this, and we need to speak out about it. We need to inform our legislators that this is not the way to go, that, again, the military and the police force in Haiti has basically been used as a means of repression in Haiti. We're not talking about a country that needs to defend itself against other external forces. We're talking about a military that, in essence, has been used as a means of population control, as a tool for the economic elite to be able to retain its control in Haiti. So we need to be vigilant about that and speak out and clearly communicate this to policymakers and to others so that we can organize around building a real just society in Haiti and ensuring that mistakes aren't repeated.
I'd like to thank all our speakers, Jose Marin and Professor Carol Clark. I'd like to thank all of you for
And I'd like to thank Professor Bernstein for organizing this.